Well, hello and welcome to Family Game Night Live. I'm Emily with Firefly Toys and Games, and I'm so glad that you could join me this weekend. So, last week we talked about the Rhino series from Haba, and we had so much fun celebrating the white rhinos that were at Riverbanks. I had a chance to go visit with my family, and I had so much fun. Also got a mask as a souvenir. It was awesome. So anyway, this week we're going to talk about a couple games from Blue Orange Games. I know we've highlighted them a little bit, but I wanted to show you the Kingdomino trilogy, Kingdomino, Queendomino, and the newest of their games, Dragamino, which is going to be the kid-friendly version to Kingdomino. So for those of you who know and love the classic Kingdomino game, I'm going to show you it first. For those of you who haven't, pay attention because it's so much fun. And I'm going to show you a couple of other versions of the Kingdominos that I think you're going to enjoy. So let's dive right in, lords and ladies of the court, and let's take a look at Kingdomino. Now, just so that you know, I have the giant version of the Kingdomino and the Queendomino, so it's going to look a little bit oversized to you guys who already know and love the game. And we do sell the giant version, by the way, of the Queendomino, so it's really awesome. So in Kingdomino, you are trying to build the most valuable castle in the kingdom. So I happen to be pink. I have a pink shirt on today. So I'm going to be the pink player, and then I also have the green player sitting here. Kingdomino plays 2 players up to 4 players. Because of the spacing on my tables, you can see I got my longer tables out today. I am not able to use my blue and my yellow up there in the far right hand corner. So they're going to sit and watch as we play the game. But for today's purpose only, I'm going to play with pink and green to show you how it works. I'm going to mainly show you my board, just to show you how the dominoes will actually play on the game. So I have my castle here, and what we're trying to do is build a 5x5 grid using the tiles that are laid out in front of us. Now, the way that we start the game is we're going to have 1 row of dominoes that are set up, and they're going to be territory side up after we get them numerically ordered. You always start with the lowest number at the top, so on the next round we have a 5, and you go in ascending order up to 28, which is the largest number being at the bottom, if I can talk tonight. So we have already ordered our first row, we've already turned them face up, and then one by one, the pink and green player were able to go back and forth and go ahead and choose their tiles. I kind of laid them randomly, and choose their tiles. Now, it's not really a first-person kind of game. Like, you don't really have a first player assigned the entire game. It's going to change every single round. So this turn, whoever's on the top is going to be the first player. So pink right now is the first player. I'm going to go ahead and grab my person and my tile. Now you do have to go ahead and lay immediately before grabbing your second tile. So the way that this works is any of the squares outside of your castle are considered neutral territory. You can lay any adjacent territory to it, and it will be just fine. So it's neutral ground. However, if you already had a tile placed, you need to match at least one side or the other to a territory already existing if all of your castle pieces are taken. So I'm going to go ahead and lay my water tile out. Now, one thing to watch as you get going in the game is to look ahead and make sure that you're able to play your next tile on your board so that you have a good understanding as to what you're going to do. Once everyone's claimed, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and flip the next row over. And as soon as one tile gets claimed, the person who just went is able to go ahead and find another tile that they would like to have. Now, I'm going to go ahead and explain this before I choose really quickly. As you notice, my tile has no crowns. This is just water. This is going to give me 0 points at the end of the game. The goal of this game is to have the most points. The way that you're going to acquire points is through these little things called crowns. I mean, it's the royal court domino, right? It's king and queen domino. So you're going to need to have some kind of significant icon showing that it's going to be of value. So they've done crowns. Now, if the crown happens to be water, I would have gained points off of this. But I only get 1 point because it's only a forest. As you notice, green player has, I don't know if y'all can see this, green player has a crown on his water, so that would have been very beneficial to me. So I'm not going to really need this water necessarily because it's going to give me no points, But this is the only crown, and I get to go first. So I'm going to go ahead and claim it because later in the game, I might acquire more forest. So the way that you want to do this is you're going to want to put territories together with crowns and like territories together so that you can acquire the most points. Green player is going to have a grassland and a forest. And then they're going to go ahead and they're going to choose their next tile. Since they have a grass and a forest, they think that they're going to get a lot more forest in the game, so they're going to be first player next turn. I'm going to claim my second tile, and I actually have a crown on my water. Yay! So here's how this works. I can place my tile like this. Even though my wheat field does not match, my water tile matches at least one of my tiles that were already on the board. Or I could turn my tile to where it is adjacent to any part of my castle, and it doesn't have to touch anything else because this is a neutral ground. Or I can do something like this. Now, the problem with doing this is you're going to block that open space. So we're just going to do this for now, okay, guys? Now, if I were scoring this right now, I would have 3 water tiles. I would have 1 crown. We have to use simple multiplication, guys. Use your brain. So 3 times 1 equals 3 points. If I would have had a second crown, that would have given me 6 points. So on and so forth. You got to use your basic math skills. Okay. So those of you who have young children at home, those of you who are trying to use this for educational purposes, whether you're at home or at school, this is a great game to work on your math skills. And speaking skills apparently for me. All right, so green has went ahead and claimed their last tile for this round. They're going to stick it on their board, making sure they either place it with their forest connected or they're going to attach it to their castle somewhere since it's neutral ground. I'm going to go and play through one more turn to show you how this might look. We're going to slide over. One thing you're going to want to do is keep everything as consistent as possible so things don't get confused. I am ordering them numerically like we have been doing the last couple of rounds and like we will the rest of the game. The game will end when we get out of tiles. For a 2-player game, you have 24 tiles set aside. For 3 players, you have 36. And for all 4 players, you use all the tiles that are in the box. So it just depends on how many players playing, depends on how many tiles you're going to have out. I've now got the next round numerically ordered. Everyone has now, there we go. Everyone has now claimed their tiles. So we can flip the next round. And I have 2 forest crowns in the bottom. So we're going to be scrambling to try to get those forest tiles. But I don't know if y'all notice over here, green player gets to go twice because they are at the top. Remember, it's not necessarily the last person who was first player, it's the person who's at the top of the board. So they're going to place their double forest tile knowing they still don't have a crown for their forest, but they got lots of forests over here. They're going to go ahead and claim one of those forest crowns. And because they're competitive, they're going to go ahead and take both of them, which is really, really bad for me, but good for them. I'm going to go ahead. Remember, we got to do this one at a time, even though mine is adjacent to each other. And so I have some things to consider. Let's back up so I can show you. I could go ahead and extend this out long ways. Let me show you. The problem is, since it's a 5x5, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 already, which means I cannot go to my left-hand side and I cannot go to my right-hand side. So I've blocked myself if I decide to leave it like this. Remember, your castle is your neutral territory, which means you are able to, throughout the game, lay some more tiles down. So what I might do is I might reconsider my option. Instead of placing it that way, I'll do it sideways, or I'll go ahead and lay it under or over, knowing that I can continue this stretch. Now, I have a forest and a water tile next, so it might do me quite well. I'm going to slide this up for a minute, see if we don't get too confused. If I put this on the bottom, I only have 3 rows. That'll make my 4th row down, and I still have 1 more to be able to play with. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and claim. I'm going to end up with both of the top ones anyway. So let's go ahead and claim the last one of this round, and we'll end here to show you how it's going to score. And if I lay this here, let's move everything up, then I'm going to get a little bit of points, but not as much as the other player. So the other player is only going to have 1 point, because they only have 1 water tile that has a crown and they don't have any other crowns. I am going to have, there's 2 points for my forest, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1 equals 5, so 5 plus 2 is going to be 7 points. So technically, if we stopped here, I would have won this game. So like I said, the game's going to continue until we run out of tiles, and we'll see about points from there. Let's move on. I'm going to show you Queendomino, a little bit quicker than Kingdomino. It's going to have a little bit more to it, but I think this is one of my favorites of the two, just because there's so much more deviousness. All right, so in Queendomino, whoops. Did y'all catch that? Okay, there we go. Cool. All right, let's try this again. In Queendomino, apparently the kingdom is going to fall. We have, again, this is my giant version, so a little bit of room is taken up by a lot of game. You're going to have the tile placing game. So we're going to have our strategy of picking a tile, playing a tile. We still have to abide by our grid rules. Our castle is still neutral territory, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so in this game, you're going to add money, 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 honey. I think we all love money. So we do have money. We're going to have a thing called knights, and I'll explain the knights in a minute. We're going to have towers, and my queen who fell off. Oh. She wanted to leave the castle, apparently. All right, so here's our queen. Now, the queen is going to be based on how many towers you obtain, because she wants to visit the most prestigious castles in the country. So you're going to want to impress her with your buildings. Now, speaking of buildings, let's walk over here for a second. We have a dragon. You know me, I love my dragons. They're so much fun. So we have a dragon guarding a cave. Now, he holds different building tiles. So each of the building tiles are going to represent some form of being able to score at the end of the game. Now, it depends on what you are able to play on your board. If you have these red tiles, which is new to us, so you've got caves and forests and water and your wheat fields, all that's, similar to the Kingdomino. But in this one, you have what's called construction tiles. Now, if you have this and you place it on your tile, on your castle, let's go ahead and attach it to a castle here. There we go. All right. It's on my castle now. What we get to do is we get to construct a building if we so desire. You would pay the price of whatever is underneath each building. So this one is the most expensive. However, this one is free, and it has a crown on it. If I was to purchase, and let's just say I'm going to go ahead and purchase this one, I get in the immediate benefit, which is going to be gaining another knight, and placing my construction building on top of my construction tile. Now, you can only do that once per square. So once I've built a construction tile, I cannot play another one. This is the final building on my construction tile. That means if I have more red tiles adjacent to me, I will gain the territory bonuses off of each of the colors that are in the same area. Okay? Now, let's talk about the knights for a minute. Let's just go ahead and lay both of these guys out here. Okay. I have 2 construction lands. If it's the beginning of my turn, I've drafted my tile, which I just did. Before I buy tiles, before I move on, before I claim the next round, I can use one of my special knights, and I can tax a property. Now, it needs to be the property that I laid down, but I can tax the property and go, I want coins, give me money. So these 2 tiles will give me money because there are 2 in the territory that my knight is located in. So I will gain money because I've taxed. Now, the end of the game is going to be about bonus points. If you end up having something like this tile, the bottom says that you'll get 2 points per section of territories. Now, this one does not mean that if you have, this is the grassland, so it doesn't mean that you have 3 grassland next to each other. It means if I have a grass, let's say this is grass. If I have a grass here, and a grass here, and a grass here, of course abiding by the territory rules, that means I'm going to get 2, 4, 6 points because it's going to be based on the different sections, not that they're all together. So there's a whole nother strategy in play when it comes to Queendomino, because you have all of these different end game scores. This is 5 points straight up. This is 5 points just because you have this tile. This is going to give you a victory point for every knight you still have in your possession. Oops. whether it be in your castle land or still in your possession, you get points off of having knights. So when you look at the backs of these, in the top left corner, this is your immediate bonus. If you want this tile or you have this already, then you need to gather as many knights as possible to increase your score at the end of the game. Now, one thing, my favorite part of this game I need to talk about. The dragon. So, if once a turn, let's say you don't have construction tiles or there's nothing up there you want, or, you know, like me, I love to get the most points at the end of the game. I love to win. I love to be competitive. You can bribe the dragon for 1 coin, and he can destroy one of the buildings. So you're going to put him on top, and he's going to stay there till the end of the round. Now, the end of the round means that we go through all 4 of our tiles, and I know I did it in the wrong order, but that's okay. So once we reach the end and everyone has claimed all of their tiles, that reaches the end of the round, everything shifts and the dragon goes back to his cave. One more thing to note. You see this tile right here. In the left-hand corner, it's going to have a knight and a tower. If you were to put this on your property, let's say I decide to build here, I would immediately gain a knight and a tower to put in my castle area. Now, the tower can go anywhere. It's just a symbolism. But whoever has the most towers in their castle gets to claim the queen. She has deemed you the most prestigious of the land, so she's going to come and visit so long as you keep up with the most towers in the game. Why is she so special? At the end of the game, she counts as an additional crown, y'all. She acts as another set of bonus points for the end of the game. So if I was to put her on this cave area, that's 4 crowns technically in that area. So it would give additional bonus points. So it pays to be devious in Queendomino. It is amazing. I love it. It's just like Kingdomino, but it adds some more character to it. So that's the giant version of Queendomino. Unfortunately, we don't have the giant version of Dragamino, or I would just say it's the giant version knight, but that's okay. Dragamino is the brand new hot game from Blue Orange Games, and this takes down Kingdomino to a simpler set. You get to be dragon trainers. So it is still your tile laying game, and everyone starts with this tile. You're going to have, so you've got your desert land and you have your ice land on this side. I happen to be the pink again. I did not necessarily plan it that way, but I happen to be the pink player. As you notice, the flags are going to be different colors. So that's how you indicate who is whose player. On your turn, you can lay these out however fashion that you would like to. In the rulebook, it also says you can leave it in the box and just simply randomly grab a tile out of the box, but that's okay. We're just going to randomly cut the deck and grab one out of the middle. Now, that was a really bad drawing. If it would have matched something on my board, then I would be able to claim one of the eggs in the middle that matches the territory. Let's see if the green player has any more luck. And they do not, so I'm just going to lay one out there. Now, I do happen to have 4 players in this game because it is a very short and a very small game on my table. So let's go ahead and let them draw. And they've claimed a grass and a volcano tile. Ooh. And our blue player has grass and a mountain area. All right, so we're just going to keep going down the board. Yay! Okay, so I have received another ice territory. It doesn't matter how I put it necessarily. So, and the other thing about Dragamino is there is no grid specifications. You don't have to play 5x5 or 7x7 or have to be in a straight line or in a square. You can literally have your board extend off of the table, like, given space available, you can extend it however far you need to. So you can lay them in whatever fashion. Because I have 2 ice lands that are connecting, I'm able to randomly grab one of the ice eggs out of the middle. Now, see if we get lucky, because one of these eggs may be a dud, or a couple of them. And it is. But I'm still going to lay it on my board. That's what I was able to claim. So I don't know if y'all saw. It's a dud. no baby dragon, so sad. But that means that I have become the first player. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that I start the round with me, but it does mean that at the end of the game, she counts. This is Mommy Dragon. She's watching over her babies. And she counts as 1 extra point at the end of the game. So if you've had a little bit of a bad streak of luck, you might get lucky and get 1 more point that you need to win the game. All right. So they were able to make a land match. So we've got the desert land over here. We're going to grab one of the yellow eggs. Let's see which one this one will give the green player. It's a little baby dragon. So they are on their way to starting to train their dragon. Now, there is a variation to this game for those of you who would like to play a little more advanced. This is an oasis. It's a piece of water. Now, it is supposed to fertilize the land, which means you have possibly better success at being able to acquire and train your baby dragons. If that's the case and you play with that variation, you're able to instead draw 2 egg tiles, decide which one you would rather have, and put the other one back in the pile. If you happen to come across a dud, that might give you the opportunity to put the dud back in the pile and just keep going. Now, the way that you win the game is after we went through all the tiles, you count up the amount of baby dragons that you have, and if you have the mommy dragon, and whoever has the most points wins the game. It's as simple as that. There is no crowns to the territory. There is no, having to keep the territories together, but it does give you more benefits if you are able to place the territories next to each other. So I'm just randomly going ahead, and that one was the little baby dragon. Gonna show you, let me grab another tile. Okay, let's say that you draw another tile that's similar to what you've already got laid down and you already have a baby dragon. Anywhere that there is a connection between 2 of them, you're able to lay another baby dragon. So I would be able to go ahead and claim, oh yay, I have a point to my name. So I'd be able to lay another baby dragon anytime that I have anything adjacent to the same color. That's how you play Dragamino. It's very, very simple. It's very, very easy. It's great for the kids, and it's really easy to be able to start showing them into the math skills that Kingdomino is going to bring. It's a great way to be able to recognize colors, be able to talk about lands. Of course, we always love talking about dragons. And so King and Queen Domino, we're going to work on your math skills. Dragamino is going to be a real great insight into the tile placing and your basic gameplay, since it is rated for little kids. And let me show you the fronts of the game boxes since I showed you the demos themselves. So this is Kingdomino. This is what we played the very first. And as you can see, the meeples are very much so smaller in this one. But we love Kingdomino. We have Queendomino back here. And we've also got Dragamino. I just love the artwork. It is just so cute, y'all. Alright, well, I hope that you all have enjoyed. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next Saturday for our family game night highlight. Have a good weekend, guys. Bye.